Number 986, battery swapping 2 by 3 wheels. Recent developments in battery swapping. Battery swapping entails switching a drained vehicle battery with a fully charged battery at a swapping station. In general, battery swap-enabled vehicle can also be charged via conventional plug-in charging infrastructure. Battery swapping offers advantage in terms of purchase price parity with ICE vehicles and recharging times. In particular, offering the battery as a service, for example, based on a monthly subscription fee, reduces upfront investment for vehicle owners. In addition, drivers can choose a light-size battery for daily commuting and then upgrade to the larger battery ahead of a long journey. Battery swapping also has the potential to improve battery management. Example, to extend battery lifetime through controlled charging, coordinate charging to reduce the impact on the grid, increase utilization of renewable electricity, and even provide grid services that can generate revenue. Specifically, battery swapping stations can leverage the aggregation of batteries in order to provide grid services. In traditional cases in which battery ownership and utilization remain at individual vehicle level. More extensive communication and control measures are required to allow for the provision of grid service. However, battery swapping presents some disadvantages compared to conventional charging. Firstly, more than one battery is required per vehicle to ensure sufficient availability at swap station, with some companies currently averaging about 2 batteries per vehicle. This could affect critical material demand and the associated environmental impacts. Though, given that battery capacity per vehicle may decrease, the net impact is uncertain. Furthermore, the capital investment required for a battery swap station can be high, given the cost of the spare batteries in addition to the infrastructure cost. Additional costs may also be incurred if batteries are damaged during the swapping process. Estimates for the cost for a single battery swap station range from USD 319,000 to USD 1.4 million, including the structure, land requirements, labor, maintenance, electricity, and stored batteries. From a customer perspective, the lower resale value of an electric vehicle that does not include a battery may be a deterrent. Finally, battery swapping either requires a degree of standardization, see policy incentives for battery swapping in China and India, or for battery swap stations to be tailored to certain vehicle makes or models. The success of battery swapping will likely depend on regional conditions such as supportive politics and standards, vehicle market structure, and vehicle applications. Various battery swapping business models, including battery leasing and bus business models, are particularly interesting for commercial vehicles. Battery swapping is seeing growing adoption within the LDV sector, including 2 by 3 wheelers used for delivery or ride hailing services. In particular, battery swapping for 2 by 3 wheelers is growing in Asian markets. The deployment of battery swapping for trucks, however, is thus far limited to China, where the market is growing. China introduced buses with swappable batteries for the 2028 Beijing Olympics, but the technology has not developed as much as for other vehicle segments. However, a number of projects in India focused on battery swapping for electric buses, especially for intercity operations. Ashok Leyland, now Switched Mobility, one of India's largest commercial vehicle manufacturers, set up the first electric bus battery swapping station in 2019. 2 by 3 wheelers. International Council on Clean Transportation ICCT analysis suggests that battery swapping for electric two-wheelers in taxi services, example bike taxis, offers the most competitive TCO compared to point charging BEV or ICE two-wheelers. In the case of last mile delivery via a two-wheeler, point charging currently has a TCO advantage over battery swapping. But with the right policy incentives and scale, swapping could become a viable option under certain conditions. In general, as the average daily distance traveled increases, the battery electric two-wheeler with battery swapping becomes more economical than point charging or gasoline vehicles. In 2021, the Swappable Batteries Motorcycle Consortium was founded with the aim to facilitate battery swapping of lightweight vehicles, including 2x3 wheelers, by working together on common battery specifications. Battery swapping of electric 2x3 wheelers is particularly gaining momentum in India. There are currently over 10 different companies in the Indian market, including Gogoro, a Chinese Taipei-based electric scooter and battery swapping technology leader. Gogoro claims its battery power 90% of electric scooters in Chinese Taipei, and the Gogoro network has more than 12,000 battery swapping stations to support over 500,000 electric two-wheelers across 9 countries. Mostly in the Asia-Pacific region, Gogoro has now formed a partnership with India, India-based Zip Electric, which runs an EV as a service platform for last mile deliveries. Together, they are deploying 6 battery swapping stations and 100 electric two-wheelers as part of a pilot project for business to business last mile delivery operations in the city of Delhi. At the beginning of 2023, they raised USD 25 million, which they will use to expand their fleet to 200,000 electric two-wheelers across 30 Indian cities by 2025. Sun Mobility has a longer history of battery swapping in India, with over 210 swapping stations across the country for electric two and three-wheelers, including e-rickshaws with partners such as Amazon India. Thailand is also seeing a corporate interest in battery swapping services for motorcycle taxi and delivery drivers. While most prevalent in India, battery swapping for electric two-wheelers is also spreading to Africa. For example, Rwandan electric motorbike startups Ampersand operates battery swap stations, with a focus on serving motorcycle taxi operations that requires long daily range. Um, Ampersand has built 10 battery swap stations in Kigali and 3 in Nairobi, Kenya. These stations perform close to 37,000 battery swap a month. Trucks. For trucks in particular, battery swapping can have a major advantage over ultra-fast charging. Firstly, swapping can take as little as 3 to 5 minutes, which would be difficult and expensive to achieve through cable-based charging, requiring an ultra-fast charger connected to medium to high voltage grid and expensive battery management systems and battery chemistries. Avoiding ultra-fast charging can also extend battery capacity, performance, and cycle life. Battery as a service bus, separating the purchase of the truck and the battery and establishing a lease contract for the battery substantially reduces the upfront purchase cost by as much as 50%. In addition, since trucks tend to depend on lithium iron phosphate LFP battery chemistries, which are more durable than lithium nickel manganese cobalt oxide NMC batteries. They are well suited for swapping in terms of safety and affordability. However, the cost of building a station will likely be higher for truck battery swapping, given the larger vehicle size and heavier batteries, which require more space and specialized equipment to perform the swap. Another major barrier is the requirement that batteries be standardized to the given size and capacity, which truck OEMs are likely to perceive as a challenge to competitiveness as a battery design, and capacity is a key differentiator among electric truck manufacturers. China is at the forefront of battery swapping for trucks due to significant policy support and use of technology designed to complement cable charging. In 2021, China's MIIT announced that a number of cities would pilot battery swapping technology, including HDV battery swapping in 3 cities. Almost all major Chinese heavy truck manufacturers, including FAW, CAMC, and Dongfeng, and Jiangling Motors Corporation Limited, GMC, Shaanxi Automobile, and SAIC have now launched a battery swapping enabled model of their battery electric trucks. In 2022 alone, more than 12,000 battery swapping enabled electric trucks were sold in China. Cars China is also the leader in battery swapping for passenger cars. Across all modes, the total number of battery swapping stations in China stood at almost 2,000 at the end of 2022, 50% higher than at the end of 2021. NIO, which produces battery swapping enabled cars and the supporting swapping stations, runs more than 1,300 battery swapping stations in China, reporting that the network covers more than two-thirds over mainland China. Half of their swapping stations were installed in 2022, and the company has set a target of 4,000 battery swap stations globally at 2025. The company claims their swap stations can perform over 300 swaps per day, charging up to 13 batteries concurrently at a power of 20 to 80 kilowatts. NIO also announced plans to build battery swap stations in Europe as their battery swapping enabled car models become available in European markets. Towards the end of 2022, the first NIO battery swap station in Sweden was opened in November 2022, and by the end of 2022, 10 NIO battery swap stations have been opened across Norway, Germany, Sweden, and the Netherlands. In contrast to NIO, whose swapping station service NIO cars, the Chinese battery swapping station operator Orton's station supports 30 models from 16 different vehicle companies. Battery swapping could also be particularly attractive option for LDV taxi fleets whose operations are more sensitive to recharging times than personal cars. US startup Ampere currently operates 12 battery swapping stations in the San Francisco Bay Area, mainly serving Uber rideshare vehicles.